Oh shit, what's going on? I'm doing this again. I'm a stand-up and a photographer. Both.
You're both?
Yeah, I kind of both, yeah, still both. I mean, it's more photography now, but still keep my hand in, as they say, gynecologists say. I'm going to do a nipple shot now.
What's a nipple shot?
Well, it's my nipple, isn't it?
Oh, nipple shot?
Yeah, I don't know, just made that up. Yeah, I'm an artist. I'm a clowntographer, Joe.
I think that's the title of the documentary.
What it is, my mum, she was actually told she couldn't have children, so I was born as an adult. I was born, like, she couldn't have children. A big beard. The people who go into stand-up are maybe different to the people who go into photography, because most people who go into stand-up, something's gone on. Why would you want that love from an audience? Well, it's like a drug, yes. A lot of people, when I started, because there was nothing else they could do. So the idea of doing stand-up, that's it, you know, I'm slightly out of society, this is what, you know, I'm free. Wow, how deep was that?
We're getting truth.
Truth is what it's all about. I got into comedian photography. I was gigging all over the country and everything, and I just had a little point and shoot with me in my gig bag that I whipped out every so often, and just took pictures backstage at the start, just people I was gigging with. And it kind of went from there. Then we did this book, and a few of the ones I got at the beginning have made it big. And I think people were saying, if you didn't get in the first, that's the Bible of it. And when that came out, people thought, I want to be in the next. So I did the next one. So there's 450 people out there, and that is the door to it all. And what I often do when I'm shooting here is the comedian will go on to this big round of applause, and I would just, as their door's shutting, I would just sneak out and hide in the curtains here. So that's why I wear black a lot of the time, and obviously I have a hat on sometimes because my head is a bit shiny. So when the show's on, I'm here, and I can just see there, but I'm kind of pretty much in the dark here. So I often keep the door shut, and then I shoot. You can shoot into the light. I love getting different angles on my shots. I don't like straight on shots. They're just not that satisfying for me. So I always go for different angles, shoot into the light. So there are some comedians who are used to having photo shoots, and so they're kind of great in front of the camera. Every time you take a picture of them, it's kind of a different change each time, because you don't want the same look. Otherwise you're going to get 100 pictures of the same smile. There are some who need directing. There are some who actually don't want to pose for the camera. I remember Scott Caporo coming in, who's a fantastic comedian, and we just chatted for an hour in front of the camera, and we got some really nice natural shots. That's what I'm after, really. Gigging for all those years and being with them and going out mucking around, you kind of know when the laugh's coming, or you know when the gag is. I just know my subject, and I think that is the secret, really, of doing something good. Generally, the comedians get on really well, and it is a kind of a closed club in a way, but that access is amazing. And I think that's the biggest hurdle, is you've got access to these people, and you know I know them, and so there's no kind of playing up to the camera. So when on stage they're playing up to the audience, and you know that's their show. So but backstage the guard is down slightly, even if it's kind of laughing or it's tension. There's lots of stuff going on. The punters don't see that backstage, and I think hopefully that's what I'm bringing to the party. I think some comedians like their photo taken. I think so. Maybe they're not so keen. You know, just before going on stage. I think I would never start saying, you know, give us your face for a photo. Just before they're going on stage. That's when I get a bit candid and a bit quiet about it. People are very different backstage. You know, some people are really nervous. Other people are just very relaxed about it. And I think I've taken a lot of photographs backstage at the Comedy Store, at charity gigs or just gig gigs. And it's a tiny little dress room, but there's a big mirror there. So I tend to just chat to comedians and have my camera like this and just, you know, shooting away, because they forget that I'm a photographer there. They just know me as a comedian.
Lost about 10% of his material there. 70.
Pretty much, I think everyone who was in our situation. Can you?
So Matt, what are you writing on your hand, Matt?
The names of everyone, despite having done comedy for 23 years,
Yeah.
do you know what? I'm absolutely rubbish at names.
Who just covered it there and wrote the complex name at the top and then introduced themselves?
It wasn't me, no.
In real life,
It's do you know what, like everything else I remember fine. The set, never had a problem with remembering any jokes. Names, I did one, it was dreadful at the Arc once. I forgot this lad's name, and oh god, he went mental.
He was annoyed.
Yeah, so annoyed. Because it was a Christmas show. Everyone was like, oh, have you had a good night so far? I went, Liz, and then I forgot, and the crowd were quite savvy. And one of the lads at the front went, what's his name?
You couldn't do the whole thing again. No, what was I saying?
No, did I? I went, start cheering! So I went, I went, I think it was I forget who it was. But as I walked past him, he went, that was it. And afterwards I came back to apologise and he went Landers and I went, do you know what? Didn't have to apologise, I did. So mind your fucking neck in.
I realised someone introduced me once and they clearly realised as they're introducing me that they didn't know my surname. So they said, here he is, your host. It was like the DJ in his face. Rob! Rob! We can still learn this.
Maybe I'm stream it. Maybe it's getting switched around.
Photographers have to get in, to get a good photo of like a band, the photographers have to be in that community with the band.
Yeah.
And that means they've got to work to want to get there, whereas you as a comedian, you're in this group instantly and it gives you a kind of natural access that other photographers just wouldn't have.
That's great. We scripted that. No, we didn't.
Cheers.
I'm gonna go watch.
I want to get inside
The rest of the night will be 10 times more professional than that. Welcome, we've got the front row. Where the fuck have you been? We've been waiting for you. I mean, obviously you've just come off a ship. Welcome, and what's your name? Monica. What a lovely name. What do you do, Monica? An economist. Oh, fucking well done. What's your favourite currency? This is great. This is wonderful. Are you two together? Either that or she's his security guard. Fucking hell, she's not letting anyone get near you, are you? Mine! How long have you two been together? Couple of years, that's nice. How'd you meet? She studies sport.
I thought you were going to ask what position, because one, I think the big one's probably the photographer, which is a great position and a great name.
It sounds like a prostitute, right?
Oh no, cowboy hats me for the kitten kebab. Well, I am in the 7th level of hell.
So when you picked up the guitar, I didn't think you'd be able to play that, but he's got a bit of...
He does look talentless, doesn't he?
Yeah, we'll be so funny. Yeah.
You don't like it?
My granddad, I've got granddad, nice chair. I actually got granddad. I was named after him. I was called Grandad. I was called Grandad. There's one of Harry Hill, and it's not his face. It's his back to the camera. But because of you can see his lapels. You know it's Harry Hill. What's nice about that one is I think you can You can tell who it is, if you're into comedy, you can tell who it is without seeing his face. What's in focus is his back of his head rather than the front, but you know who it is by his collars. And I do like those pictures that aren't completely obvious what's going on, but you know kind of what's going on. There's one of Frankie Boyle. This was at the Hammersmith Apollo actually, and he you can't see his face, but you can see his shape of his head and his glasses, and there's a star coming through his glasses, which I only saw later on in post-production, where you just see, wow, the light has shone through his glasses and there's a little star there, which things like that. So the ones that aren't immediately obvious. This is Lee Mack at the Hammersmith Apollo, the same night that Mike Gunn was on. I always try and get my shots not front on, generally to the side or shooting into the light. And this one, the light is just magnificent. And he looks very lonely, but he's, there's 3,500 people out there, something like that. I call that one the Loner, and that got shortlisted to the summer exhibition, our Royal Academy summer exhibition. That's quite lonely as well, in a way, isn't it? But there's also another one of my favourite, of Michael Fabry and Joe Rowntree. And it was at a bowling alley. I mean, it was a really tough gig. So they set up this comedy club at a bowling alley, and I was on that night as well. And Michael Fabry had finished, and he was just relaxing on the sofa like this, and Joe was like his head against the wall, waiting to go on. What's nice about that one is just the body language. So you don't need to know who they are, but you can tell that one of them's finished their set and the other one's about to go on. I think it kind of defines backstage. And that's what I really love. And they don't know I'm taking the picture, because they wouldn't be in that pose otherwise, I don't think. One of Vegas, Redmond and Dave Johns, that was one of my first backstage ones that actually made me think, I like this, something different that I haven't seen before.
There's a comedy and a tragedy in that photo.
There's always that comedy, tragedy. It's all connected, isn't it?
Yeah, that photo where you're sitting
here with
more
Johnny
exactly.
Johnny Vegas here.
Yeah, and then Michael
Redmond's there.
But it was so funny because it's one of my first photographs I started taking backstage. Yeah. It got me into thinking, there's something in this. I've got access to all these fantastic comedians. Plus, I do stand up. Everybody's relaxed around me.
But what it was, well, that's the thing that you've got the advantage over. People on
no
when you're in the room, so you get the best. Yeah, you get the best photographs.
Relaxed,
and all it was that me and Johnny were just talking and laughing.
Yeah.
And Johnny said something that made me laugh. So you captured me laughing, you captured Johnny laughing, and then Michael was waiting to go on.
So I asked Michael what his expression was, because
he was waiting to go on. He was waiting to go on, but it looks like we're all having a really good time and he's just miserable bastard. But what it is he was waiting to go on. So it's just that sort of like contrast, him with his miserable face, and then me, Johnny Vegas.
Well, I got that.
And he keeps saying to people, I wasn't miserable, I wasn't miserable, But the thing is about stand-up is I think it's one of the most creative things you can get.
Yeah.
I mean, to stand on stage by yourself and have the balls to go, I've got something to say in front of 200 people, 300 people, 400 people, 10 people even. I mean, have the balls to say that. And to write your own material, to present it, to structure it. I think comedians are artists, But the knack is to make them out there fall in love with you. If the audience falls in love with you, they'll come and see all your shows.
Yeah. And tonight you're doing the Comedy Store Players, which is improv.
Which was an improv show.
So how long have you been doing that for, the improv?
Oh, I've been guesting on it for years. Yeah. I mean, my happy place is working with the Comedy Store Players because they're so good and so tight. They've been together for so long and they can keep the structure of the show that they when you're a guest, they just let you go. They just let you run. And so you can go as mental as you want because they'll always pull it back round and it won't become this self-indulgent. Me and Josie got on I don't know where it was. There was a bear on the underground.
A bear?
A bear was on the underground. That's how it started. It was a bear on the underground. And it got into a musical, The Bear on the Underground. And it was absolutely fucking hilarious. Yeah. And even we were saying that's a moment of magic. It's like when a stand-up, when you have a moment of absolute magic where you just think, where did that come from? Audience are laughing, you're laughing. I mean, that's the magic. I mean, that's something that, I think held me in good stead for when I went into films, Ken Loach got in touch with us and he cast in, I went for castings, and because he doesn't ask you to read the script, he gives you sort of, like he'll bring another actor in, another actress, and he'll just give you a scenario. He'll say, you're two workmates, you're on your break, you notice that she's got a black eye, you think maybe she's in trouble with her boyfriend, talk about it. And so, because I don't find that intimidating, what you have to have is you have to have truth. And that's the best comics have, the truth. Same on film, if you're an actor, you tell the truth. And if you tell the truth and the emotion's right, then you make a contact with the audience.
What about my little one-liner gags?
One-liner gags, yeah, that's good as well, yeah. That's why you're a photographer.
Would you prefer to do now? You're happy doing both?
Oh, I'll never give up stand-up.
No.
Come on, I mean, it's the greatest job in the world. Walking out on stage, you make people laugh for the mad rubbish that you think in your head. Yeah. I mean, it's the greatest job in the world.
Give me a laugh.
It's an evil laugh.
Yes. Give me an evil laugh. That's shit. That's shit. Oh.
Yeah?
That's quite nice. No, back. Yeah.
That's alright.
I'll tell you ones I like. Yeah. Sexy.
Yeah.
I want the sexiest one, right? So give me the sexiest ones. Right. I'll have 4 prints.
Yeah.
Christmas cards. You've taken some great photographs, mate.
Thank you, Dave Johns.
You know, who would have thought?
The Hanson film in Platform 2, is that right?
I've got my photograph of you, Phil Jupiter's backstage at Ballon Banana. It's my first photograph.
Backstage at the Ballon Banana?
Ballon Banana, it's one of my first photographs I took.
Oh, go on, let's see.
That's amazing!
So I'm going to... It's like that. So
I've got it.
Oh wow, when was this?
That's backstage at the Banana.
Do you remember that at all?
No, not the slightest.
It was... I think
Phil, of all the comics, Phil has made me cry laughing just in general conversation. It's just got his...
I will marry when I want.
It's just constant sense of mischief. Brilliant, that's lovely.
For a long time I was a vegan. I put everyone out because I was just so good. But I kept relapsing on eggs. I kept forgetting that there's an egg in the middle of Scotch eggs. So...
This is yours to keep forever and ever. That's the one I did.
It's such a good one as well.
Nice, isn't it?
Yeah. Forever.
Forever and ever.
Right. And then I folded it.
You're quite the photograph comedian.
Visually, I'm giving them more than just talking about my problems on stage. Do you know what I mean? I'm like acting them out.
But that makes for a good photograph.
That's what I'm saying, Joe. So it's best to photograph a comedian when they're not aware of it.
Well, that is the best, isn't it?
Sorry.
Before you got stage as well.
Do you know what I mean? It's like they play up to we.
Do you like photos of you?
It's sort of like it's quite easy to disassociate yourself from the photos. You know what I mean? He was like saying, I've been watching him for years. He's dead famous, and I was like, well, it's not me, is it? Fuck.
You see right, come on. We got married. We got divorced. Now she's dead. Well, she's my latex wife.
I'm not walking up the stairs if there's no reason to walk up the stairs. You right, babes?
I'm alright, how are you?
Did you hear me before you saw me? What piqued your interest in wanting to use your art form to film another art form from people who do another art form? Because you've got 3 art forms in there. We're going to show the fat arms. I don't give a shit. Ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to present to you, all the way from down the road, the one and only, Miss Ninya Benjamin. Hi! Oh yeah, wait, I'm not ready.
Okay,
I just got to make it.
Let's get my mirror shot.
If you've got a bit of weight,
Yeah.
you put some layers there, it just misachieves the eye.
I think acting-wise,
Yeah.
you want them without glasses
Yeah.
as well as because people want to see.
Shit.
That's all that.
I know that it's a straight face.
Straight face.
I want my photos to reflect me, which is I'm a bit of fun, a bit crazy, but I'm also lad, which is the same as loud, but said with a London accent. This is my inner supermodel.
Yeah.
I've always wanted to model.
Yeah.
I'd love to be a plus size model.
Yeah.
I mean, I'd love to be not a plus size model, or just a model, or even a model.
It's
Right?
much easier to take pictures of Nina as a photographer, but as a comedian as well, because we can have a chat. Okay, 1, 2, 3.
Did he get it?
I don't know yet. Hang on. 1, 2, 3. Yeah. Let's do one more. Pull one bit strand each way. That's it. Yeah. That's it. I want to get all of that in. Yeah.
Hi, I'm Milton Jones.
that is a comedy picture, is it? That's not an acting picture, is it?
No. I've come to accept that this is how
Keep hands in your glasses.
I look.
I can't get his energy out. My granddad, he got killed. He was trying to stop a fight. It was a big fight. It was World War II. I've come in from the stand-up world, and so I really didn't know the photography world 7-8 years ago. It's quite strange. But coming in to the photography world, you start meeting all these photographers who've been at it for 20, 30 years. I think generally our styles are pretty different. And you have your creative side, as you did as a stand-up. You'd have your creative side to how you write comedy. And I think it's similar to photography. Is it? I think it is.
I'm a photographer of comedians, normally studio-based, but sometimes live as well.
What's it like being the one?
On this side of the camera, it's absolutely hideous, which is why I'm normally on the other side of the camera. I think it's just creating a feeling in the room where they're going to be completely comfortable, I think, and then you start getting what's great about that person, and you don't take the picture, it's made, so it's a complete collaboration. So I really like improvising in the studio. So if I've got a mood board and it says, oh, this person wants to look like that, and then they suddenly give me a completely different expression which is opposite, I'll follow them. So it's getting them to be as natural as possible. I was running a comedy club at the 100 Club with Ronnie Golden, and he thought it'd be a really good idea if we went to Edinburgh with Barry Cryer and Ronnie Golden and the Ronnie and the Rex as the backing band. So we decided to do it. Then I suddenly realised they needed a poster, so I shot the poster, and then Neil Innes said, oh, I'd like to go as well. So then I shot Neil Innes, and then John Dowie said, so my first Edinburgh was actually 4 of the big people at the time, and then suddenly it just snowballed from there, so completely by accident. I was in Edinburgh this year and I saw a poster and I thought, that's exactly what I did 4 years ago.
Someone's kind of copying your style, and you're thinking, actually...
It's an homage.
Yeah,
it's an homage. People that I've worked with a lot are always great. So people like Phil Nicol, because we've got a shorthand, and also he's completely fearless. So if I say, right, I want you wearing a dress with a full beard, he'll just go, yep, that's cool. But then sometimes
That's beautiful.
Phil just looks at you.
Yeah, that's lovely.
I'm going to do no Photoshop, I'm going to do nothing because you've just given me a gorgeous picture.
That's lovely.
So when you can kind of build up that relationship with someone, it's good. Tom Allen I used to love working with. I like working with magicians as well, because especially for the Photoshop stuff that I do, it kind of, you can get away with murder. Barry Cryer, it's just a face that you just want to keep photographing because it's heaven, and it gets better as he gets older. So it's kind of fun. But I think even if you're doing headshots, it's those little moments that happen during one of those sessions that can just be magic. I mean, I'm sure we probably all do. Anybody who works in the studio does the same thing when we say this is just a lighting test.
Yes.
It absolutely isn't. No. Or okay, that's a wrap. No, it isn't.
It's usually in between the shots, isn't it? So you're taking the shot, and then they relax a little bit, and then you get another shot.
And I just trust my finger to twitch. That was It's a Wrap. Sue taking her glasses off.
So you told her that that's the end of the show, the end of the shoot, and then.
But the thing about Photoshop being kind of
that's
big
real.
part.
That's not
this
Photoshop.
is completely real. I've done nothing to this. It's totally real.
I'm a performance photographer that specialises in comedy. It's something I fell into, and it's the stuff that I love, and also just a bit of life that people are aware of but not necessarily covering all the time. When I first started, I had no idea anyone did that. Anyone took photos of comedians, but obviously you saw photos, you just never really thought about who was taking the photo. I try to capture their persona, which is not always the same as their personality, or not always necessarily the character that they're playing. It's a kind of combination of the both. You can see that picture and you'll recognise them if you know them personally, but it should be what they're like on stage. The one that I thought, okay, I'm good at this, and I could get a great photograph, provided the timing and everything else like that. I would say it's a Michael McIntyre shot that I did. It was just one of the earliest live shots I think I got, and it was before the smoking ban, so that's why the light looks amazing. And then the fact that he just, within that moment, it looks like McIntyre but also looks like Bill Hicks, and I just thought, well, if I can make McIntyre look like Bill Hicks, then I can do anything. It's not an easy life being freelance anything, but being specifically a freelance comedian photographer.
Let's find a little box and make a little box inside the little box and put a little box inside. Yeah.
I'm a photographer working mainly in comedy, but working in performance. Recently I took one of 5 comedians backstage. We was just messing about, backstage snap, and they decided to sit like the Last Supper. And it just looks nice, and it looks like it was really staged, and it wasn't. It was just capturing that moment and capturing the essence of someone. If you can capture the essence of someone, whether that's comedy, a comedian or not, that's what you're after. I always feel incredibly privileged to be backstage. It's kind of trying to find the balance with getting the photographs, but also just not encroaching on anyone's private time. And you have to, I think after a while you get to learn which comedians don't want to be bothered at all. Although I try and blend into the background, and hopefully people don't really notice I'm there. For me, the most exciting thing is when you see someone for the first time and you're there and you're in the moment and you know that they're going to do well, and you can just see all that potential. And just being part of that as that journey's kind of beginning, I think it's the most exciting thing.
I'm a photographer. I started off photographing gigs and bands on tour and things like that, and then I moved on to comedy. I don't particularly like my own stuff, but other people seem to like it. I want to use it, so I suppose that's nice, but I think I'm my own worst critic. Portrait-wise, I think the latest people I really enjoy shooting are people like Carl Donnelly. Actually, I don't think I've laughed as much as when I've seen Carl Donnelly in a leopard skin pair of pants and nothing else, sitting in a room that I normally live in. Taking pictures, it's crazy. I mean, there's one of Brendan Burns. It's an out-of-focus photograph as he rages towards the camera in the green room, and I love that shot.
I've got imposter syndrome.
Yes.
I've got terrible imposter syndrome.
Huge imposter syndrome.
I've got it right now.
You were talking about comedians coming into the studio being nervous.
The photographers are just as nervous.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because you're only as good as your most recent shot.
You're putting yourself out there in terms of both your name and your work.
And you're going to be critiqued in exactly the same way as a comedian is.
Yeah.
Although the critique is after, so the comedian gets critiqued there and then. Which is interesting, isn't it?
But also I find the language that people use for critiquing a photograph is really hard, because they'll say things like, that's a bad photograph.
Yeah.
And actually you want to go, technically it's brilliant. You just don't like the subject.
The idea is that if you get the shot because the energy or the moment is there, it doesn't really have to be technically wonderful.
We'll bear this in mind when you watch this.
I moved recently though. I was over there a couple of minutes ago. Just to walk in those doors, down the steps, and all there's photographs, not my photographs, on the wall of the Comedy Store, maybe one day. And you could go down into, and you kind of go into this kind of fantastic club, and backstage is a privilege because how many people have been backstage at the Comedy Store? You see this come in here, it's a bit of a heart flutter though, isn't it? Kind of come in here. Look at it. It's the Comedy Store. These just looks like, I think they do little group shots of people backstage who's on the weekend. And there's a few backstages that are nice, but this one is because it belongs to the Comedy Store, and I just think that everybody, when you first play it, you might think that the backstage will be this big place, but it's not. It's just tiny, and it's housed so many comedians. You know, people have been, so many famous comedians, and this is it. You know, there's very few people who have got access to this, and it's just an honour to be part of it. There's a few venues that I've shot at that are my favourite places to shoot, and Comedy Store is one. Not necessarily because it's so historic. I think that's one of the reasons, because it's so iconic, and you also get some of the best comedians here, I suppose.
It's history, though, isn't it?
Yeah, it's history. I think I don't know. I would have thought it's one of the first comedy clubs. I'd have to find that out. I'd have to ask Don. But I'm pretty sure it's one of the first comedy clubs in the UK, and it's massive history from, you know, Alexis Sale and Rick Mail coming down. And there was a time when it was really underground. I mean, there was no internet then, was there? So it was this kind of feeling you had to go to a club to see these people. So there was only a few channels on television, and they were the ones. They would be a springboard to their careers, is to play the Comedy Store. This was where it all happened, where it all started. I've got a great photo of Omid Jalili coming out of this.
Coming out? Is he coming out?
He's coming out this toilet, and there's a reflection, and Jack D is standing on the other side.
Oh yeah, I know that.
It's really nice. I really like that picture.
Where Tim Clark was the MC, and he had a look at the board, and then he went out there, and then please, you know, welcome the next act. Couldn't remember the name, right? So he came back in, had a quick look at the board, and then went out again. By the time he'd reached the mic, he'd forgotten again.
That was when in his young days, though.
He came back in, and we held the door so he couldn't get in.
My favourite photographs of comedians aren't portrait shots, they're the action shots, backstage or front stage. So
Yeah, they could be laughing at anyone.
Yeah, laughing at...
They could be laughing at me.
I doubt that, Gary. Doubt that. When I first met you, you were the...
Undertaker.
Oh,
those are the days.
Yeah.
You know, it was kind of memorable.
Yeah,
it was kind of
a
miserable looking bloke dressed as an Undertaker doing quite dark one-liners.
So what's changed?
It just well, what happened was, you know, when you first start out, there's lots of acts and they're all, you know, they're all right. Do you know what I mean? But no one remembers them.
Yeah.
So when the promoter goes, I'll tell you what, that Undertaker guy.
Yeah.
He was, so I got booked.
So they didn't need to know your
I didn't
name?
know my name. No.
Did you have?
I had a
problems?
few problems, but gradually what I did was I just dressed less and less like the Undertaker. I just sort of gradually eased away from it without people knowing, I think, until such times as I was kind of confident enough to do 20 minutes without mentioning death.
Yeah.
I'll still do occasionally. It's the important things in life: death, sex, and money. I think they've taken my photo down.
See, it's all bullshit. Oh, there you are.
Oh yeah, that's
that does look like Mike, doesn't it?
The Undertaker was a mistake, basically. What happened was I was just being myself, doing jokes, and then I thought I need an image. Is what I thought. I thought I needed an image. So I got this. I wanted to go for Wyatt Earp type image, one of those Western,
cowboy things.
Western cowboy things. So I got the long frock coat, which Wyatt Earp used to wear, but I hadn't quite got the bootlace tie and all that sorted. But I thought, I'll wear it. It was up the creek. Yeah, right. I thought I'll wear this, and that'll be fine. And I walked on, and somebody shouted out, Undertaker, or
Okay.
That's what it was.
Hearse for the Undertaker.
No, taxi for the Undertaker. And I said, I don't need a taxi. I've got a hearse outside. Hopefully, I can give you a lift somewhere in the back, right? And I got a laugh.
I mean, there's a lot of audience shots on this wall that I've just noticed, laughing and queuing.
Laughing and queuing.
Yeah.
That's it, really. That's comedy. Laughing and queuing.
Is it?
And driving.
I love smoke. Smoke in photos are great. They add an atmosphere to it. So I like the idea of taking a picture of someone with smoke billowing out their nose or something. Give me a smoke shot.
Oh, a smoke shot.
Yeah, I love smoke.
You love a bit of smoke.
The thing is, even on stage when there's like, I missed that one. Look at that. Let me get me on the camera.
More smoke?
Yeah. in out the nose. Keep your eyes open if you can.
See, I'm quite cheerful.
You are, especially when you're
I'm doing the smoking, yeah.
Do you like having your photo taken?
No, absolutely hate it.
Good answer. Go on, why?
Why? Because the photos always end up looking like me. I don't like that.
I'll show you the picture I've taken of you.
Oh, dear. I hate that one.
Yeah.
That's all right. I look a bit too cheerful.
You only want to get, you see, with a photo shoot,
yeah.
Ultimately,
you only need one.
Yeah, kind of. Yeah.
I know it's a con, this photo, isn't it? You just take 2,000 photos, and you're bound to just by chance get one that's okay.
I offer people more,
isn't it? Doesn't it?
But
that's what they do. Just chuck everything. It's like chucking shit at a wall. Some of it sticks.
I was going through a divorce, and I got the divorce. To celebrate the divorce, I went to America. I went to Los Angeles, stayed at the Beverly Hills Hotel, and then went out on the town. And where did I go? I went on to Sunset Strip, and there was the Comedy Store. And then realized that these guys were doing observational material, you know, about the politics, about everyday things that happen to you. And I thought, wow, this I want to do, and I'm going to do it better. I love black and white for comedy, and I always feel that black and white is best for it.
But here's a wall of black and whites.
Now these are all Leicester Square. So I acquired a nightclub. I not only acquired a nightclub, I also acquired a striptease club. There was a striptease club upstairs called the Noel Gwynn. It's quite a unique little club. The entrance is in Mead Street off Dean Street, right smack bang in the heart of Soho. I loved it. I loved it because it was all the characters of Soho, you know, all the artisan shops, the merchants and what have you. It was the halcyon days. Here is the old original Dean Street premise. So I had the Noel Gwynn striptease going on the 3rd floor, the Gargoyle on the 2nd floor, and then at the weekend it became the Comedy Store. Truly, my favourite picture is this one.
This is great, that face there.
Isn't it?
And even this one kind of coming out, you can see them, that's brilliant.
And then you see the queue going off almost into infinity, don't you?
It's great.
And what used to happen is I could get 215 into Leicester Square.
Is that all?
That's all. And Mark and Julian would carve off 215 and say to the rest, I'm sorry, that's it. And the abuse they used to get.
But that was before.
And they used to say, well, don't ever go at me, go and ever go at Don Ward. So what happened is the Comedy Stores had 3 London homes. Dean Street, which held 100.
Yeah.
Leicester Square, 215. And this one, 400.
It's 400.
And 400 to 500, and that's the perfect size. I checked and found that the name Comedy Store had not been registered in the UK. So I duly registered the name. We registered the logo, we registered the business, we started off. We then had to find the raw talent. We advertised everywhere saying, are you doing the wrong job in life? Are you, inside you, is there a burning ambition to be the next funniest comedian in the UK? If you are, bring your talent to us and we'll help to make you a star. That was the hook, help to make you a star. And I expected to get, 20, maybe 30 people doing crazy acts to come along. We actually got 150. So we started auditioning, and the first one to walk in was Alexei Sale. I realized that the comedy gods had smiled down on this whole idea. Alexei did his set, and we all know what Alexei's stuff is, with that lovely Liverpool accent, which I always think is really terrific for comedy. He was doing this angry bit about everything. It was just mind-blowing. So I realized there and then I'd got a host and a compere. This is the Godfather's Corner, by the way.
This is where we find you?
Godfather's seat. Anybody sits in it,
it's for real.
I just give the look. I got 150 people. We gathered all the names, numbers, and what have you. And we started off on May 19th with 30 comedians.
What year?
This is 1979.
So that is
May 19th, 1979. Saturday night. I put it on at midnight because I thought I wanted something different. And also I had the striptease going on upstairs and I didn't want to mix it all up, if you follow. It was absolute madness. You know, there's all sorts of acts came in, people in paper bags, people with multi-instruments. I'm going to ask you who those two guys are.
That's Rick and Aid.
Yeah.
Ben Elton.
Because Ben was the compere that took over from Alexei Sale. The Rick Mayall and Aid Edmondson's act would be Rick out front doing his poetry about not knowing Vanessa Redgrave. That's a classic one, if you look that up. And Aid Edmondson in the background, just looking around, nothing to do. And then he spotted the upright piano. So whilst Rick was doing his performance, he would take the piano to pieces. And why say take it to pieces? He'd strip the piano right down.
Seriously?
I was in the wings tearing my hair out because I knew I had to have it put back for Monday. And every Monday I had to have somebody come in to put the piano together.
So it was much more anarchic, you know, when you...
Oh, crump! It was crazy. It was crazy. Right? Absolutely. There's hundreds of venues now. Nobody copies failure, so everybody copied the Comedy Store. You know, Jongleurs came along, the Glee Club, the Stand, and this and that. And now, I don't know, was it 500 clubs in the UK now? Must be. I mean, Robin Williams has walked in, Jerry Seinfeld, Chris Rock, Dave Chappelle, all done the store. You know the story of him arriving at the store. And Alexei Sale, it was the Alexei Sale days, so it's when Alexei was hosting the show.
So by then Robin was pretty well known?
No, Robin was not known. He came over to do the voice over for Popeye. Alexei didn't know him. He and I used to put the running order together. So Alexei said, I've got this Yank that's come in. He said, he's bought a ticket. I said, I like him already. He said, he's bought a ticket, but he's asked, can he go on? And he said, no, I've got a feeling about this guy, that he's going to be good. I said, okay, fine. Well, I'll tell you what we'll do. We'll open the second half with him. And if he dies on his arse, we got Rick and Aid to go on afterwards. He went on to do 5 minutes, and 45 minutes later, he was still there. The audience would not let him off. Wow. He was flying. Yeah. Wow. Nobody else did anything like him. But that was the secret and the success of Comedy Store, is that we didn't know what was going to happen, and we just put them out there on the stage. And it told people pretty quickly what was required to be a comedian.
So there's a story about Kirk Douglas's son.
Yeah, he actually rang me and said he's going to be in London, whatever it was, and could he do a show spot? I don't know, it's something about the Comedy Store. The audience can smell success or shit. and it was the latter. And somebody just abandoned his set and said, "Would you realise I'm Kirk Douglas's son?" And then there was a pause. It was that lovely pregnant pause where nobody said anything. They just stared and they thought, "Yeah, I am, really." And then somebody said, "No, I'm Kirk Douglas's son." And at the other end of the room, "I'm Kirk Douglas's son." About 30 people did. He was destroyed. He didn't even stop to sort of say goodnight to the governor.
Is that your granddaughter?
Oh yeah, that's it. Yeah.
So that's for you.
Oh right.
And this one.
Wow, isn't she beautiful?
Isn't she?
Oh my God, you should see her now. They're amazing.
They're nice, thanks.
Oh.
Yeah. Hey, cheers, man. It's really lovely to know you, Don. And
hey, I want you to do the 45th.
Let's shake on that.
Yes. They expect to come to Comedy Store and they expect to see the very best in stand-up, and that's what I give them. But you cannot beat a live show. You cannot beat the excitement. Tonight, you know, from about 7:30, 7:45, when it's building up to showtime, you can almost touch it and taste it. And I can't really call this work, can I? It's a great hobby of mine, comedy, and also is my business, so I'm very lucky there. What a thrill, what a delight when a newbie comic comes through and you see them getting the laughs. I find that so encouraging.
You go into the photography world and it's so different to the comedy world. I just keep mucking around and you walk into the gallery and you just want to muck around and then start getting really serious about photography. It's not serious. I walk past the Observatory Photography Gallery, which is where my exhibition is at the moment. And I'm a bit of a blagger, and I just went in and showed him some of my pictures, and he really liked them, and I was surprised because that's from the photography world. But it's interesting people from the photography world starting to like your stuff that's not comedy, but it's photography.
Steve's eye is so magical. It's the actual essence that he's captured of the people is so special. I think my favourite is the Julian Clary image. Just because of the timing, it is immaculate.
This one is I always wanted one with a passing shot. So you have people backstage and you have front stage, and I wanted one passing. So the compere brings on the comedian, and Paul Thorne bringing on Julian Clary is what's happening here.
1/100th of a second before, 1/100th of a second afterwards, and it wouldn't have worked. And that's in a lot of Steve's work, but that is the one that really demonstrates it so perfectly.
This is quite a smiley shot, but there's quite a lot of loneliness, I think, in some of the backstage ones, certainly.
You know what that emotion is like?
I know what that emotion is like because I've been very lonely backstage, but also there's a sense of friendship as well.
What you've got is what all great photographers need, framing and timing.
It's Jimmy Carr.
I think this was your start because you had the access, so that was a great thing. Unparalleled access into this world. And perhaps that relaxed you as well, because you were known and trusted.
I could have chosen a few other ones that I shot Jimmy Carr, a few on stage, but this is a game where I like the idea of I'm backstage, I've got the access. I knew him from the early days on the circuit, and when he came on with a clipboard, does his jokes. But so he was just let me into his dressing room and just let me shoot. And I quite like this one. It's quite vulnerable in a way.
Is this the best review you've had?
of my whole career, even in comedy.
I don't think it can be quite the same part of the brain, but the analogy is simply that with both elements of timing, I think it has to be innate. I don't think you can learn it. I think that is the point. So I think you can only not know what you're doing. You just get it right. If you think about it, it's gone.
That's fascinating again, because that is the same idea with stand-up. It's very hard to teach stand-up.
That's what I'm imagining. Yeah.
So you can. There's loads of stand-up courses you can do.
Right.
But some people have funny bones.
Yeah.
And are
I
innately
think
funny.
I believe that. Yeah. I
So
believe
you think
that.
that's the same with photography as well?
Exactly. Yeah. I do think that.
It's fascinating looking at your work because being a stand-up for so long, your work generally is immediate. You're on stage and that's it. But when you see something that you've created, which is more physical, obviously, then it kind of it's great to see. I really like it. It's longer lasting in that sense because you're only as good as your last gig. But here, you've created something that is forever, ultimately. Mm.
You know the Feng Shui expert, he got murdered. He was in the wrong place at the right mirror shot while Joe's performing. We'll do a group shot in a minute. Is that all right? How you doing? Yeah. So, good, thanks, but I need the other three.
You're fucking out, man. When the smoke kicks in. It's when the fucking smoke is back. The fucking tune's banging.
Can I get you all standing up? And yeah, move forward, George. More forward. Let me see your faces.
Where's Jeffy?
He's having a cigarette.
Yeah, he's not here, he's gone out.
There's no way I'm going to get everybody to...
He's having a cigarette, so I don't know, I think he is anyway.
This is the struggle of the...
There's the struggle of a group shot. Struggle of a group shot.
The comedy photographer.
Yeah, with comedians
We had him
who
and then he went out.
smoke.
Where's Jeff? There he is, he's
Huh?
Good lighting out
Yeah, it's fake. It's always good at the store. On stage, it's really good lighting. Yeah, you get some nice shots. Nice shots.
Because people need to hang their jacket up while you two fucking fart ass skylark about how much lighting there is. You never been to a blasted comedy club before?
You've got strong glasses, haven't you?
Yes. Fucking hell, do we have to say that?
All right, and folks, will you please give a huge welcome to the stage, your host and compere for tonight's show, Callie Peter!
What a lovely welcome, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the grand final of the British Comedian of the Year! This is the biggest comedy competition in the country. The prize is not just £10,000, it's £10,001, ladies and gentlemen!
Yeah, it's a real different kind of feeling when you come to a gig and not going on stage as a comedian and just taking some shots. It's certainly more relaxed.
Yeah.
There's no kind of feeling of stress at all. But this is a bit more of a stressful environment because it's kind of a competition and it's not the same. Although, you know, they're all pro acts out there and they're just doing their stuff, but you can sense there's some nerves.
The more you give all our acts, the more you're going to get back. You're going to love our second act of the night. It's the wonderful Scott Bennett. We're going to start some clapping and cheering at the front of the room.
Are you getting some nice shots?
Yeah, I've got those the angle shots where you get the person in the mirror from the far side, but also from this side, from the sound booth, where you get the audience reflected in the mirror, so it looks like the person on stage is kind of surrounded by the audience. Plus, you can get the logo in the background, so it looks quite an interesting shot. Photography is catching the moment, wherever it is, whatever the moment is. You know, landscape photography, portrait. Portrait is a little bit different because you can keep catching a similar moment because you can arrange a person to look a certain way. But here you can't. You can't go on stage and say, can you do that joke again? You know, you've got to get certain moments. Sometimes you miss them. Sometimes they're blurred. But sometimes it's okay to have a blurred shot because it's a really good moment. And it could be in any sphere and subject, but I've chosen to do comedians at this stage. So it's capturing moments on the UK comedy circuit.
In the semi-final, I want to throw up. Now I just want to shoot myself every time, so it's one less.
You know, sometimes when someone does a mannerism on stage, or a jump, or a spit comes out their mouth, or something happens, or the audience really rolls with laughter, and you've got the comedian and that laugh. You know, that is a moment that you're not going to capture that exact bit again.
Are you nervous, Jeff?
I'm not nervous, I'm just a little bit troubled by the concept that only one person can win and you could be one vote away. And because I haven't got my hearing aids, I'm a little bit stressed that I'm on the back foot a little bit. But I'm thinking, I'm a big boxing fan, I'm thinking a lot of people get cut in the first round, go on to win the fight. So I'm cutting the first round, that's what I'm saying, so let's see.
To go on in the industry, but also as a person, you've got to keep chopping and changing and writing new stuff. And I think, strangely, photography has done that to me creatively, because I'm constantly creating something, and it's really I'm massively enjoying it at the moment.
They've got to introduce you. So they do remember who everyone is. And at least there's two.
It's like a glass, but through glasses.
Yeah.
Just pan out a bit. The other way.
Yeah, but the thing is though, it's quite easy to follow like a load of dancers.
Ladies and gentlemen, so this is it. This is the third and final section of the final of the British Comedian of the Year. Welcome to the stage, Andy Askin.
I can sense your disappointment. It's good to be here. I know the shirt's a bit loud. It's actually your Father's Day present. But who did you want?
So I know I look dodgy. That's why I've gone smart casual.
Oh no, how to make chocolate cake without no eggs. What are you saying, blood?
I've been here for 20 years. That's longer than half my life. I've been here. People get very surprised by that. 20 years in Britain, George. And you still haven't lost the accent. Well, evidently, fucking no.
Turns out old people are alright at comedy.
Pardon?
Turns out old people are alright at comedy.
Yeah, it looks like it, doesn't it? And even though the industry is trying to force it to go in a completely different direction.
Yeah.
I don't mind. I'm 67, you know.
Guys. Top three. Guys, listen, top three are going to go on.
Guys, anyone who was up, guys?
Okay, so drum roll. I will say this, it was very, very tight, the voting, okay? It was moving back and forth and in and out. We got the drum rolls at the back. So, in third position, okay, the third place of the night goes to the one, the only, the brilliant Ninya Benjamin, ladies and gentlemen. And in second place, Andy Askins, ladies and gentlemen. Andy Askins and his guitar. Okay, so the winner of the night, British Comedian of the Year 2021, the recipient of £10,001, which is about to be presented in cheque form, is the one, the only, Mr. Jeff
And that's what people say is stand-up. You know, you live or die, you know, on that moment. It is like a drug, stand-up, because it's that adrenaline, what's it called, you know, the endorphins, and you know, you need that kind of love.
Jeff Edison, ladies and gentlemen.
Don't tell my wife about this though, yeah?
I had a mission to get one of my pictures on the Comedy Store wall, and I've come down on the final of the British Comedian of the Year to photograph. I've been hired, been asked to photograph the final. I've come down and I found the picture. It's the one of Don Ward, the owner, founder of the Comedy Store, holding his granddaughter high up in the air with the logo of the Comedy Store. It's just round here. Hey Gunny, I've got my picture on the wall, look. Come here. Me? No. So I've got it on the wall. That's a Don.
Don't be distant, get close to the moment so you don't miss it. It's all a test to self-express. Do more and speak less.